Hi, and today we're talking about Frozen Miracle. I've always wanted to write a mermaid story. I watched a movie when I was very young called Splash, about a guy who meets a mermaid, and I've always loved mermaid stories. Anyway, here we are out in a place called Vellamsund, near where I live in Nacka, and these are the boats. So if you think of in the Yukon province, the little boats all out there in the frozen ice. We've got a snowy day today, but it was warm a couple of days ago, so the ice has kind of melted. But 1 week ago, this whole sea was frozen. So living in Sweden has given me a lot of inspiration for stories. Now, why mermaids? Well, why not? Mermaids are cool. I mean, underwater cities, swimming with the fish, having an amazing time. So definitely mermaids. But I knew I didn't want to do like social media and deal with mobile phones and all that stuff. So I wanted it in the past. And then I've got a lovely sister who lives in Canada. And I thought that would be an exciting location. So I did some research and found the Yukon province. Found out it was settled around in the 1800s, and that became a perfect place. And through that research, I discovered that in those little communities were populated by a lot of people who came from Scandinavia because they were used to the weather. So that's why we have Matteus and Martin and Gunilla and Andreas, good Scandinavian names. And there wasn't that much to do in these communities, right? They hunted and they fished, and there was a little bar or a place to eat. So I didn't have many choice of jobs, because it was a story about the water. I thought I'd have them all fish. And then I wanted Andreas to have a different job and have a friendship with the bar owner, Maria. So he worked in a bar. And then I had to figure out, well, why does he work in the bar, not on the sea? And then the idea of his parents being lost to the sea came in, and I found out about that, the current that flows through that did take a lot of people. So that was where his parents came in. Who would he live with? So then Martin came into the picture. And then I wanted to mirror Andreas's grief with Martin's own. And the story really becomes about that. Apart from the mermaids, it becomes how two people can have such great tragedy in their lives when Martin lost Gunilla and when Andreas lost his parents, but how they respond to it in different ways. Martin responds with anger and despair, and for Andreas it's a fear and a sadness. So when they encounter the miracle of the mermaids, their reactions are different. For Martin, it doesn't really affect his anger. He just sees a way that he can make his life easier. And for Andreas, he sees hope. He sees, he sees the miracle, right? I think there's something amazing about when what we expect of life and the unexpected happens when those two events meet. So, like a ghost story or alien contact, or if you've read my other stories, you'll realize I come back to that a lot. And I think to find a mermaid, realize that that's true, that's a really cool thing. So, then how the story develops with they believe the mermaids are dead. And then, they don't have electricity. How would they take them anywhere or show them to any scientists or anything like that? Impossible. So what happens to dead flesh? It decomposes. So then the idea of how do you preserve dead flesh? And I found out online, back then they would pickle in brine and keep fish for the hard winter. So that's when that idea came. And that is a dark idea, I know. I'm sorry about that. If it's any consolation, the first version of the story was much darker. In the first version, I had Martin knocking Andreas unconscious, and then when Andreas wakes up, the jars are full. So he does cut up the mermaids, and then the end of the story was Martin just coming to him, and Andreas, I think he just ignores him, and Martin walks away a broken man. But then Andreas goes out on the water trying to find more mermaids. But when I read the story to Sarah, it was so dark and so upsetting, we decided to change it immediately. So that's when we have the hope, and that's when Max was born, the dog who comes in and helps save Andreas, because we couldn't think Andreas could overpower Martin in a fight, so we needed some help. But to bring in another human character would have been too much rewriting, honestly, so that's why we had the dog. And that's it. I think the overall feeling of the story, part of that comes from Wales. I don't mean the country, I mean the animals. You know, we see these miracles all the time, these incredible animals that we don't truly understand, that can communicate over vast distances with song, and that are clearly very intelligent, and yet sometimes we just see them as money. That's all. So I think that's where that idea comes from. And I think that's it. That's the story. As you can see, it's a very cold day here in Sweden. And that's Sarah and Nimley. Say hi, Sarah.
Hi.
I'm talking about the Frozen Miracle.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Glorious spring.
Yeah, beautiful spring day. It's a beautiful spring day in Sweden. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Get your teacher, or if you've got the contact details, you can contact us and let us know what you think, and which ending you prefer. Do you prefer the happy one, or would you have liked the really dark ending? All right, have a good spring. Bye.